How has anything ever moved forward in the entirety of human history, ironically? People questioning the norm. Because if you don't question the norm, you go into an eddy or vortex, and you go round and round and round, and nothing moves on and nothing expands. But that's the idea. You cannot control a population of critical thinking, free-thinking people, questioning people, in the way that you can control a population that just accepts, like a sponge, the official version of everything. And thanks to the alternative media, although I don't think most of the alternative media goes even nearly far enough. Most of it's not actually alternative, but mainstream light. But even so, thanks to that, and this availability in the last few years of alternative narratives to world events, etc., people have started now to question more than ever before. When the government comes out and says, this is what happened, it's the Russians! More and more people, like never before, are going, well, hold on a minute. Is it? Where's the evidence? And I tell you, when you ask that question, where's the evidence? There's usually silence coming back. And, you know, there was with this incident in Salisbury, with the nerve agent and the Russian double agent working for British intelligence, or used to anyway. There was a wonderful line from Theresa May, the British Prime Minister, that encapsulated exactly what I'm talking about, and how this perceptual download, this perceptual programming is supposed to work. She said, with no evidence whatsoever, there is no alternative to the conclusion that the Russians were involved. Now, of course, there are endless other alternative possibilities, but that's what this whole programming is about, to get people to believe there is no alternative to the conclusion that what we're telling you is true. Anyone else tells you that it's not true, conspiracy theorist. And what people like me are saying is, we're not having it. We're not going to accept the official. If the official story stands up to scrutiny, fair enough. If it doesn't, and it usually doesn't, then that's not fair enough. But what the silencing of freedom of speech is all about is to stop people having access to that alternative narrative to the official one. And people like me won't have it, not quietly anyway.
Well, sitting here listening to you has just almost put a mirror in front of my face in your way of saying it, which is why I love being an entrepreneur. Whatever one defines that as, I define it as being creative, waking up today wanting to doing something meaningful and being able to do it without anyone getting in my way, without regulation or too much of it. You know, we need some, don't we, to stay safe. And yeah, when you run your own ship like you do with your message, you know, you're not employed by anyone as it seems.
Nope.
Then you can put the work out that you want to put out, and you can make the difference to the world that you want to make. And yeah, I suppose that takes a little bit of courage and bravery, because when you do that, the system's going to say, hey, wait a minute, you should do it like this. Wait a minute, you should do it like this. So I'll come back to that in a minute, because there was something I really thought of, and I wanted to make a couple of suggestions for you to keep getting your work out there, and to the listeners, because I found LinkedIn, I don't know if they've strategically gone, oh, look what Facebook have done, we'll have everyone, but they seem to be doing the opposite, where they're letting you get much more expanded reach. I mean, I've been playing with some of my content on there, and I get 250,000 views in a day on something, and I'm not as big as you in terms of my following, and I wouldn't normally get that. So they're clearly letting it go.
Right.
And I don't feel like the reach is being played with. It seems to be pretty consistent. So that's one thing. Second thing is, we were talking about this on the way down. You should have a podcast. I mean, but no one seems to control a podcast. Joe Rogan's got one. He sits and does what he wants, 100 million downloads a month. And it's like they can't be policed, they can't be controlled, because you own the back end audio, and then iTunes will syndicate it, and Stitcher will syndicate it, and Podbean will syndicate it, and whatever else. But you own this asset, which doesn't seem like it can be controlled or doctored or manipulated. And you know, my podcast has nearly 2 million subscriptions, and it's got I'm just a little guy doing a little thing, and it's helped me get out to the world. So I guess I'm saying that because if people feel like you, that the bigger media, I'm pointing over here, obviously you've got Google up on you, if they feel that...
I've got my website
okay,
up, yeah.
If they feel that Google and Facebook, and I'm not here knocking those, by the way, but I'm just saying if they feel Google, YouTube, Facebook are starting to police, reduce your freedom of speech, have the evil press button, no you can't, yes you can, no you can't, and you don't like that, I think these are the platforms like LinkedIn and podcasts.
Yeah, I mean, my sons who run the organisation of my work, they are doing this now because we have to respond to what is happening. But there are great opportunities for entrepreneurs who believe in freedom to replace or offer alternatives to these platforms. I know people are starting to do it, but the more that we can have, the better. Because in my new book, Everything You Need to Know But Have Never Been Told, I talk about the fact that YouTube was demonetizing alternative content, and of course the alternative media, I mean I write books and stuff, so I'm not dependent on YouTube, but a lot of alternative people became dependent on YouTube monetizing their videos to make more videos. And I said in the book that that's only stage one. The next stage is they start deleting channels, and of course now they're deleting channels on a very, very large scale worldwide. So this is not something that's going to happen over a long period of time. That's what I'm saying. So there is a very urgent need and a massive potential audience for platforms of, if you like, social communication and videos for people that really believe in not censoring. And yes, the big companies will go the way of the system. I mean, I actually love it when out of nowhere major corporations got together and said to Google, you're talking about YouTube, you're putting our adverts against hateful videos, and you must stop it. And they all got together and said, all these ethical companies, that have the best interests of humanity at heart while they're screwing them day by day by day, right? It's all orchestrated. And so Google, B-movie actors, said, oh no, we better take the adverts down then, which just happened to be on the alternative media channels. And that was how the demonetization started. And then once you start it, you roll it out even more, and now there's virtually none on Google for anyone with an alternative view. But people still have to sell things.
Yeah.
And there is an advertising, quote, market out there for a large audience platform. And if people would go down that road, there are great financial opportunities for them, as well as the main reason, from my point of view, which is having the ability to communicate information uncensored. Because the more uncensored information circulates, the more the system of control will fall. Because its whole foundation, its whole way of surviving, is to keep from its target population what it is doing, how it is doing it, and to what ultimate end.
So, do you regard yourself in any way as a businessman or an entrepreneur? It seems to me like the more you resist these things you stand against, the bigger and more powerful and more successful you become. Are you aware of that dynamic going on?
No, I'm not an entrepreneur. I spend my life researching information and communicating information. My sons, Jamie and Gareth, who run the organization of everything, they work to get my information out there. And they can be very creative at it, and they have to be very creative at it because of all the pressures to stop it. So that's the way I work. I don't have anything to do with that side of things at all. I just deal with the information. In fact, there was a time when I did it all.
Yeah.
I did it all, everything, and including writing all the books and everything. But now, as my sons have got involved in recent years, it's freed me from all the other side of it, so I just focus on the information, and it's been incredibly effective, both in the information I've been able to uncover because I've had more time, and also in the fact that they have been excellent in the way that they have organised the communication of it.
And is that just to free up your time, or is that because you don't really enjoy the more commercial aspect, or is that because they're good at the commercial aspect, or is that because you wanted your family involved?
No, it's because A, they're good at it, and B, I have no interest in it whatsoever. All the commercial side of it and what have you, I have no interest in that whatsoever. I just want to uncover the information and communicate it. But you're quite right. In the world that we live in, you have to have an organization around you that A, can provide the opportunities to communicate the information you're uncovering, and also to make sure that there is money there to finance what you're doing. We do our own events, and it's a heck of a lot of money has to go out before any comes back. When you are printing books and what have you, there's a hell of a lot of money goes out before it comes back. And people can see the cover price of a book, but we don't get anything like that.
No.
because it goes through distributors, it goes through shops, and there's all the shipping. So printing, exactly, and so you have to have an organization like that that's sound. Otherwise, the point of everything, which communicated the information, just stops. So, but that's not my side of things. I don't enjoy that.
Sure.
But I do.
But you embrace it.
Don't let me give the impression that I don't like business and I don't like entrepreneurs. Quite the opposite. A microphone, for instance, is neutral. It's what you use it for that makes it positive or negative. Same with a notebook, same with a printing press, same with a computer, same with the world of the entrepreneur. You can use that creative business acumen, seeing opportunities and exploiting them in a way that's very beneficial for the world, or you can do it like the giant corporations, which is hijacking the wealth, therefore the power in the world.